everyone, it's Shannon. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is probably one of my most favorite videos ever because it is jam-packed full of inexpensive DIYs that you can do really quickly. Not only that, but these are amazing decor pieces and home items that you can use for years and years to come. With that said, I do want to thank the original Super Glue for sponsoring today's video. Now let's go ahead and jump right into these 5-minute home decor ideas. Up first is a set of tea light candle holders, and I'm using a piece of 2x12 that I had on hand. A friend of mine gave me this from an old retaining wall that she pulled down, so it's actually already weathered wood. So I'm actually not going to be doing much to this. All I did was cut it down into a strip that was 3.5 inches wide, and I'm using a 1.5 inch size paddle bit to route out the holes for the tea lights. So you can see I just marked where the center was of the length and width of the wood and started in the middle, used my paddle bit to route out those holes and kind of made them about 1/2 inch deep. You just want to make them as deep as your tea lights are. I added 3 holes to this size and did sand them down just a little bit to make them smooth on top. And then my tea lights are from the Dollar Tree. You can get a set of, I believe, a dozen of them, so really inexpensive. You just pop those into your candle holders, light them. Like I said, I made a set of 2, so they would go on both ends of my table, and they just look so beautiful and literally take about 5 minutes to make. Next is the most simple wood tray I think I've ever made. I'm going to be using the same reclaimed wood that I did in the very first project, which is a 2x12. I did square off one edge, and then I measured out to 8 inches. You can make your tray however large you'd like. I just wanted a smaller one, so mine will be 8 inches wide. And again, I didn't paint this or anything, I just really liked the simplicity of the weathered wood. And I'm going to be adding handles to it with this faux leather that I got from Hobby Lobby. It, as you can see, was only $4.99, but I got it for half off, and so it was only $2.50 for this roll. And the even better part is I actually got the 2-inch size, cut myself about a 9-inch long length, and then cut that in half. So each strip is only about 1 inch wide. Those are going to be the handles, and I'm also going to be using these upholstery nails that you can pick up from Hobby Lobby too, but you can even find them at Walmart or other craft stores. And I just used some pliers to hold the brad in place and used a small hammer to affix the handle in place on both sides. I really love the simplicity of this, the exposed wood and the simple handles, and I just have a small plate and plant displayed on it. But I would love to know what you add to the top of your trays. Let me know down in the comments below. I always love to hear your inspiration. These coasters are such a great way to use up some of the scrap wood maybe you have on hand. This wood was just some oddball sizes of scraps that I had from other projects, and marked them down to 4 inches square, which is probably the most common size for coasters. And I'm using my miter saw to cut those squares down. And I cut 4, but of course you can cut however many you need for your home. I did go ahead and sand these down a little bit before I brought them inside to finish them, and I'm going to be whitewashing mine with 1 coat of some white chalk paint, but of course this is completely optional. you could seal your coasters and call them done. However, of course, I'm going to make mine a little bit cute and thought I would share the process with you. I am going to be adding some decals to the tops of these. I do have these in my Etsy shop, and I will link that down in the description box if you'd like a set for yourself. So you'll get all 4 of these in this set, and basically all you have to do is apply the decals. It has a transfer tape on top, and you remove that off onto the transfer tape, rub them onto your surface, peel off the transfer tape, and you're left with a really nicely finished piece. But if you do not want to purchase decals or you don't have a vinyl machine, you could even take a black Sharpie and write your own words on there and make them say whatever you like. Now this is what I am using to seal my coasters with. It is a polyacrylic in a clear matte finish, and I just used a foam paintbrush to coat the top twice with this. If you are using these as coasters, obviously there will likely be moisture, and you want to make sure you have those top surfaces protected. And then I even went one step farther and decided to add felt to the back of my coasters. So while I was at Hobby Lobby grabbing felt, I also grabbed my Super Unix super glue. And you guys know I love this stuff and keep it on hand all the time. And one of the main reasons I love it, number one, is because it's odorless. That is super nice. The other thing I really love about it is you have 10 seconds to adjust your piece. So maybe you don't necessarily have it perfectly placed the first time. You have 10 seconds to move it around, and then it starts to dry. Another great thing about that is you can also wash your hands. So this stuff doesn't immediately bond, so you have time to wash your hands and not have that sticky residue that seems to just kind of ruin the experience of projects sometimes. You do not have that with this at all. So it's a gel-based material that I just added a few dots onto the back of my felt, made a little X in the center too before placing it onto my coaster. I pushed it down into place, and like I said, you've got 10 seconds to wiggle it around, and just held it down. And as you can see, so super quick and fast. I love this product for so many of my different products and projects. So make sure to check the link in the description box, and I will have more information down there on Super Glue's Super Unix. Next is a doorstop. Our front door does not like to stay open, so this came in super handy. I'm using a scrap 2x4. As you can see, it was from another project. I twisted my miter saw as far as it would go, which is 60 degrees, and then sliced the corner off of the 2x4, which gave me that wedge. Yep, it was that simple. This is what we need for our doorstop. Of course, I'm going to finish this a little bit, so I took it inside. I'm going to give it a coat of this acrylic paint in the color Traditional Burnt Umber, which is going to give it a faux stained finish. So I gave it just one coat of this over the entire thing. Once it dried, I took my white chalk paint and dry brushed that on, and that gave it a weathered wood look. Now this next step makes this super handy. I'm using my faux leather again for this and creating a loop on the back of the doorstop. And basically what this is doing is it's making it taller, so you're able to reach down and grab it and move it out of the way without having to bend down so far to grab that block. So again, I cut my leather in half so it was only 1 inch wide, and then added 2 of those brads to keep it in place on the back of the block. It did take a little bit of work getting it hammered in because it was an awkward angle, but it really was super duper simple. And here's what it looks like. Not only a kind of cute piece for home decor, I guess you could say, but definitely a functional item to have in your home, especially if you have doors that don't like to stay open. We were in need of a napkin holder, and I can't tell you how simple and quick this project was. I'm using a 1x6 and cutting 3 separate pieces. One is 3 inches wide, the next is 4 inches wide, and the last one is 6 inches wide. Again, I took this over to my miter saw, cut them down, and then I am using my Super Unix super glue to adhere them all together and piece it. I did grab my clamps, but honestly, I don't even think you need those if you don't have them. I'm running a pretty good thick bead of the Super Unix onto the 6-inch piece. You're going to put your 3-inch piece in an L shape onto that bead of glue, run another bead of glue on the top of that before applying your 4-inch piece to the front. I did hold this in place for about 10 seconds so it could start to dry and cure. And once it was pretty dry and I was comfortable like picking up the piece, then I added my clamps onto it. I did go ahead and let it sit for about 30 minutes just to make sure all of my glue was completely dry before I came back and started to finish it. So again, make sure to check the link in the description box for more information on the original Super Glue's Super Unix, which as you can see comes in handy and works on pretty much all different kinds of materials and projects. Now once the glue had set, I was able to remove those clamps, and I'm giving this a weathered wood look using a gray base this time of chalk paint in the color Elephant by Waverly. I let that dry and then dry brushed over that with my white chalk paint. I would love to hear which one of these projects was your favorite, so leave those down in the comments below. Please hit that subscribe button and I'll have even more 5-minute DIY videos popping up on your screen for you to check out next. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.